Hi, smart citizens. This is Zentrification, otherwise known as Chris Marshall in real life. I'm here with professional wrestler Dom Vitale of the Nothing to Prove podcast. How you doing?
Very good, Chris. How about you?
This has been a long, interesting, and fun weekend.
It has for sure.
Yeah, we're here at FanFest, which is the offshoot of Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
We finally figured out what cosplay does not consent means.
It's not. It does not mean yes.
Yes. So, since it's FanFest, the one thing you haven't really talked about this weekend are fans of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
So, let's get into how to be a good wrestling fan and how to avoid being a terrible wrestling fan. The one big thing you always hit on with your show is when professional wrestlers take to the internet and say things outside of kayfabe or outside of the business that they probably shouldn't, because it undermines the business eventually. I've actually come across this as a fan. What is it about wrestling or wrestlers wanting to get onto the internet and say this stuff, and how is it from your perception that it undermines their value as wrestlers?
You got to keep in mind, if you're a wrestler, your main objective is to be perceived as a star. No matter what level you're at, if you're at WWE or you're an indie guy or whatever, you want to be larger than life. And when you pigeonhole yourself and get played by social media, pretty much at the hands of yourself, you're doing yourself and your character, your career, whatever you want to call it, a complete disservice. So I don't want to come off on the internet as just some guy. Because that doesn't make me special. That doesn't make anyone want to see me. If I'm the same as the guy that works on the dock down the street, what's going to make Joe Schmo want to pay his 10, 15, 20 bucks to go watch me wrestle on Friday night, when you can go watch Joe Schmo fight someone in the bar for free? You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a fine line, and to me it all comes back to training. It really does. When I was brought in, I was taught, keep your mouth shut in every aspect of what you do in wrestling. There's this trend now, obviously, with social media being such a huge part of what we do. When I broke in, it really wasn't a thing. So obviously times have changed, but you can use social media to your advantage. You don't have to give up your hand, so to speak. So for example, you have guys now that'll go on Facebook after wrestling someone and thank them for the match. Why? You just fought somebody, and I don't need to know that you guys are fucking buddies. Am I swearing here?
Yeah, go
okay.
for it.
That's kind of my thing. I don't need to know that you guys are friends. Like, leave something to the unknown from you. I mean, wrestling has been exposed, ridiculously large as of late, and it's like, why expose it more? Another thing I see is that really kind of just irks me the wrong way is, as far as that goes, is there's folks that get invited to like the WWE Performance Center, or they do extra work at Raw and SmackDown, which is a great thing for them, a great opportunity. But I was always taught, when you get those spots, you don't fucking say anything about it. You don't say, hey, make sure you tune in to Raw tonight for... No, shut the fuck up and do your job, what you're paid for. There's a line, and you reach that point where you're just being a mark for yourself. You have to respect the privacy of wrestling, especially when you're a performer. That's what it's based. I say it's a kayfabe before, and do my damnedest to try to preserve that as best as I possibly can. It never even crossed my mind to tweet, Facebook, or do anything to let anyone know I was doing anything for WWE when I was doing those things. I wouldn't even text my family. No.
Yeah, when I go on your Twitter or your Facebook pages, I almost never see you interact with other wrestlers unless it's something that you've already done previously in the ring, like with Jack Jamison. I've never seen you say a nice thing about that man. And I don't need to know anything beyond that, because you're you in the ring, and then when you're on the internet.
Yeah, there's no disconnect. What you see is what you get with me. And if I have a great match with someone that maybe I get along with really well outside the ring, and we're telling a story in the ring where we hate each other, chances are I have their fucking phone number. Or chances are I can get a direct message them on Facebook or Twitter. And if I was that stoked about the match and I really was genuine and wanted to thank them, just send them a text message or just call them. Why do you have to put that out for everyone else to see? Why? Because you're a fucking neck. That's what it comes down to.
When there was one particular wrestler who made some comments after a match I had saw, and I wound up realizing that one particular moment where I was like, holy shit, was that real? Did he get me? And I was hooked with that one thing, and then I go on Facebook, and then this individual says what happened and everything. Refused to name names, but everyone who left the show knows exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Everyone who worked the show knows exactly what he's talking about, and it undermines the work that he just did in the ring.
Yeah. So I don't get Facebook being a personal venting forum.
It can't be because there's so many fans out there.
Yeah, your page is not exclusive to the people within the business. What you're putting out there, anyone and everyone can see. And 99.9% of the guys that use Facebook have it to interact with fans. Like that you want people to know where you are when you're wrestling, what stuff you have for sale, all that kind of stuff. Keep your fucking baggage to yourself, whether it's wrestling drama that you have in politics with somebody or personal drama and issues that you have going on in your everyday life. Leave it out.
There was one particular wrestler I discussed with you before who I paid money to go see this individual because they don't come to Arizona or hadn't previously.
Okay.
Shortly down the line, I saw this individual live stream themselves with some friends, smoking weed, drinking. I do that.
Sure.
And this individual knocked themselves down a little bit. And then about a week or two later, this individual announces that they got an adult job. This person I paid money to took 2 massive steps down and wound up putting themselves on my level. They're not saying I want to pay to see it anymore.
Right. I don't understand that whole concept of this, and I've talked about it on my show, the shoot job thing, and you're talking about your everyday life. Like if you are that type of person that really needs to put that shit on Facebook because it makes you feel better or makes you feel like some type of venting that it's an emotional cure for you, then get a separate page if you have to, and just include your friends and your close family. Don't put fans on there, if that's really what you have to do. But I'm more of the idea of, no, like, you're a wrestler, right? You are supposed to be larger than life. That's what we do. We're real life comic book characters, essentially. The real life fucking comic book characters shouldn't have to be telling me how they fucking are delivering pizzas or how they fucking working at Home Depot.
Right.
There's nothing, nothing bad about those jobs. I'm not saying that, but I would be completely disheartened if I was a fan and I was watching WWE and let's say Dolph Ziggler is my favorite wrestler, and I come to find out that he works fucking at Kmart 3 days a week when he's not on the road. Like, oh, really? Like, you're supposed to be traveling the world and doing what you love.
You're supposed to be the star. You're not supposed to be like me.
You're not supposed to be like me.
Like relatability,
Yes.
like Kevin Owen has, is supposed to attract you to him. You're not supposed to relate yourself to me on this everyday level.
Right.
So stay off Facebook for sure.
That's to the wrestlers, not just.
Well, for the wrestlers and the fans, because you can ruin it for yourself by looking into this stuff too much, which leads me right into dirt sheets. If you take dirt sheets seriously, you're being a bad fan. You're ruining it for yourself, and you're turning yourself into a human dirt sheet.
Yeah.
There was one individual I came across at a show, just the absolute worst. What is it about wrestling in dirt sheets that lead people to sit there and watch a show and call out moves and be like, oh, I know what's going to happen?
Yeah. I guess that's the way that we're going. It's just like with one of your favorite TV shows. A lot of people like to read the spoilers before they come out, like things that are pre-taped. And that's what a dirt sheet is. Essentially, it's a spoiler. And people want to be in the know. And I think that's part of the big reason is that you have something like pro wrestling that has been so close-knit and so closed off for such a long time. And with the advent of the internet, and prior to the internet, you did have like the dirt sheets that, were mail order. You had to actually get them in the mail, which exposed it a little bit. Now the internet's here and everything is completely exposed. So everyone feels like they're entitled to be behind the curtain and know what's going on and what we're doing.
That's a good for it. Entitlement.
Entitlement. That's completely what it is. But for all those of us that are in the wrestling business that have given so much and sacrificed so much to be in here, it's a privilege. It's a privilege for us to be in that brotherhood, and for someone else to kind of skip around all that and feel like they're included just because they know the fucking website to go to, that rubs me the wrong way. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I don't read a dirt sheet, but I'm not the one that's on there looking for rumors and like, ooh, what's that match gonna be and who's gonna win? I don't fucking care about that. I'm too old for that shit now.
Right.
I look at it. I'm a wrestling fan. I love wrestling. I love everything about it, and I love it as an art form. It's been a huge part of my life for so long. But if there's a story breaking, I might want to know the information about it. I don't want to know what you think is going to happen or why something may have happened. I want the facts. So, like a legitimate news story is what I'm looking for, to a dirt sheet for. Because I know sometimes they do have like credible sources, like so and so stated. If your source is WWE, clearly stated, not like my source within the WWE right here is what I think about your fucking source, because 9 times out of 10 it's fucking bullshit. Right.
So what's one other really big thing that fans do to themselves to undermine enjoying wrestling?
I think fans are doing themselves a disservice by just having to know what's going to happen. Like, wrestling is so much more fun to watch as a fan when you don't know what's going to happen. We just talked about this during that WrestleMania panel that we were part of. And when you don't know what to expect, that's when you get the most genuine reaction and emotions from you.
Just to speak to that real quick, you just finished the Greatest WrestleMania Moments panel, and it ended with Brock Lesnar defeating the Streak, and one of the panelists was legitimately still upset.
Yeah, 3 years later.
Yeah, you can't think so far ahead that you take yourself out of it.
Yeah. And everyone wants to be in on the game kind of thing. It's just like with a magician. Everyone wants to know how the tricks are done. And then when you find out how the tricks are done, it's kind of like,
it literally loses its magic.
Yeah, I don't want to see the magician anymore. Why would you want to do that to something that you love so much, like wrestling? Like I get there's curiosity there, and everyone wants to kind of have their opinion, and that's fine. I think everyone is entitled to their opinion, but when wrestling, they always say there's no right or wrong way to do wrestling. Well, there's no right or wrong way to be a fan, I would say, but you have to be respectful for what we do, and it comes back to entitlement. Just because you're a wrestling fan, and really we appreciate the wrestling fans, because without the fan, we're nothing. Who are we going to perform for? Our mom and dad? Like, come on, we're great. But we don't owe you anything, because we've given you our bodies. We're giving you our lives, outside of the ring, like our personal lives. Like, we're sacrificing those things to put on a show for you. So if you don't like it, okay, that's fine. I get that. Not every show or not every match is going to be great. If you love it, that's awesome too. We like hearing that stuff. But don't for a second tell me what I should be doing for you. And that happens more times than not.
That sounds like a horrible thing to do as a fan.
Right.
Let's focus on some positive things before we ease out of this. First and foremost, if you're going to go to a wrestling show, bring a pen. You're usually going to want to get an autograph or a picture or something.
Sure.
I've seen a lot of people ask for an autograph and the wrestler doesn't have a pen or anything.
Which is weird.
Or you don't have anything for them to sign.
That's why you have a fanny pack, and that's why you keep a Sharpie in the fanny pack.
Well, that's why I take a couple of Sharpies with me when I go. Because I wound up giving one to a kid who was getting autographs from everyone. It's like, well, you need a pen, man. How else are they going to sign it?
Yeah.
Bring money so you can buy merch.
Please.
Professional wrestlers don't get paid enough for how much you guys beat the crap out of yourselves.
Yeah. I mean, it's little things like that you can show your appreciation for. Like, to me, it's cool when someone says, "Hey, you had an awesome match. I really enjoyed it." That's awesome. But you know what means more to me? You buying one of my pictures for $5 or $10.
Right.
Just a little thing like that.
I like trying to make sure I buy something at every show.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be from the people I like
the
most, but from individuals I do actually enjoy. Because you might not have all the money today to spend on things you want.
Of course.
But if you can put a couple extra bucks in someone's hands, that's a better sign of appreciation.
Right.
Than just sitting there watching and clapping and saying thank you.
Yeah. And just to add to, like I said, you can have your opinion on a match as a fan. I completely can sympathize with that. But don't for a second think that you know more about what we do than we do. just because you've watched wrestling for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. Until you step foot in a ring and known what it takes, like not reading to know what it takes to be a wrestler, but actually doing and understanding and living what it takes to be a wrestler. Don't for a second call yourself a wrestling expert, because you are not. Trust me.
All right, awesome.
Sorry.
Well, thank you for your time.
Anytime.
Thank you for letting me work with you this whole weekend. This
It
has
was a
been
pleasure.
a really fun experience.
Great. I'm glad.
And I learned a ton, not just from the podcast, but from watching you talk about it. And it comes across so easily in both ways. But
Yeah.
I'm a visual person. I like seeing the person get into it. And you're a passionate dude. And I appreciate everything you do.
Hey, I appreciate you, Chris. Thanks for your help, and anything for you, man.
All right, have a good weekend.
You do the same.
Have a good week.
Oh yeah. Hey, be good to yourself. Do good for each other.
Later, fuckers.